Something just went down that could shake NASCAR to its very foundation. And at the center of it all, Tony Stewart. Yeah, that Tony Stewart. Smoke himself. A legend. A three-time Cup Series champion. A guy who could climb into almost anything with wheels and not just compete, but dominate. And now he's stirring the pot again, making moves that could completely redirect where this sport is heading. Let's not sugarcoat it. NASCAR in 2025 isn't thriving. In fact, many would call this one of the sport's darkest chapters. Fans are restless, drivers are frustrated, the media's calling it out, and maybe most telling of all, even the legends, the icons who built NASCAR brick by brick, are openly saying something's broken. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has flat out admitted the current product just doesn't deliver. Denny Hamlin? He's been taking every opportunity to blast the next-gen cars on his podcast. And when soft-spoken, respected veterans like Mark Martin raise their voice, you know it's serious. These aren't random hot takes from the internet. These are the voices that are NASCAR, the people who've carried the sport for decades. And if they're waving red flags, then NASCAR has a full-on crisis. And here's the epicenter of the storm: the current generation of race cars. They were sold as the solution, a way to cut costs, level the playing field, and modernize NASCAR. But instead of saving the sport, they've cracked it wide open. Drivers complain the cars are too equal, like cookie-cutter clones. Skill doesn't stand out the way it used to. Races don't feel raw or unpredictable. It's like the edges have been sanded off. The moment it all boiled over, Shane Van Gisbergen, a supercars champion from New Zealand, came to NASCAR and smoked everyone at Watkins Glen, won by 11 seconds. He made full-time Cup drivers look like amateurs, and he did it in his very first start. Instead of celebrating that level of talent, NASCAR panicked. They tried to adjust rules to fix what had just been exposed. Kevin Harvick summed it up perfectly. We used to celebrate greatness. Now it's treated like a problem. And while NASCAR was fumbling its response, Tony Stewart was watching, patiently, strategically. Remember, Stewart walked away from full-time Cup racing back in 2016, but he never really left. He's always had one foot in the game, as a team owner, a dirt track operator, and now through his drag racing programs with his wife, Leah Pruitt. Stewart doesn't just disappear. His love for racing never fades. It just finds new outlets. For years, his crown jewel outside NASCAR was his sprint car operation, and at the heart of it, Donnie Schatz, a driver who defined dominance. 9 Knoxville Nationals wins, double-digit win seasons, one of the greatest to ever strap into a sprint car. Stewart and Schatz were like a perfect storm. Stewart's name, resources, and reputation combined with Schatz's unrelenting skill. Together, they were untouchable. But even the strongest dynasties crumble eventually. Schatz slowed. Not completely. He was still competitive, but the fire wasn't the same. Instead of racking up 20 wins a year, he was barely scraping top 10s. At Knoxville, the house that Schatz practically owned, he was suddenly finishing 11th. For anyone else, that's respectable. For Schatz, that was an alarm bell. Meanwhile, Stewart himself had shifted priorities. He wasn't chasing glory lap after lap anymore. He was chasing balance. More family time, drag racing with Leah, building sustainable programs. Schatz, on the other hand, was still in all-gas, no-brakes mode. He wanted the fight. He wanted to claw his way back to dominance. That difference in mentality? It created friction. And eventually, friction turned into fire. Tony Stewart made the kind of move that changes everything. He pulled Donnie Schatz out of the seat. Just like that. Years of history, championships, legacy, over. In came Kerry Madsen, a seasoned wheelman who had already proven himself in Stewart's cars. On paper, it looked like a clean, simple driver swap. But the fans knew better. This wasn't just about one man's performance slipping. This was Stewart hitting the reset button. This was a message. That message, Stewart isn't afraid to break tradition, even if it means shaking the sport to its core. And that's why NASCAR should be nervous. Because if there's one thing Tony Stewart has proven his whole career, it's that when he makes a move, it's calculated. Behind the fiery temper and the swagger, Stewart has one of the sharpest minds in motorsports. Dropping Schatz wasn't just a personal decision, it was a strategic signal, one that connects directly to NASCAR's current identity crisis. Think about this. While NASCAR insiders whisper about maybe adding horsepower, bumping from 670 to 770 if they're brave enough, Stewart's already out there experimenting, testing, pushing sprint cars, drag cars, and everything in between to the edge. He's not talking about what might fix racing. He's already doing it, and fans notice. Social media's lighting up with comments like, "Stewart's dirt track races feel more real than the Cup Series." That's not just a compliment, that's a warning shot across NASCAR's bow. The timing couldn't be worse for NASCAR either. The playoffs are here, the crown jewel of the season. This is when NASCAR wants peak drama, peak attention, and peak credibility. But if they admit the car's flawed now, the entire championship feels tainted. The winner wouldn't be celebrated as the best. They'd be seen as the luckiest in a broken system. So NASCAR stays silent. But silence doesn't stop the noise. Every time Dale Jr. tweets about the car's flaws, it explodes. Every time Denny Hamlin vents on his podcast, fans pile on. And every time Tony Stewart makes a bold move outside the Cup Series, people ask the question NASCAR fears most. Is the real future of racing happening somewhere else? That's the existential crisis. This isn't just about horsepower, aerodynamics, or templates. This is about trust. Do fans trust NASCAR anymore? Do drivers believe their talent matters? Do legends feel respected or ignored in favor of corporate one-size-fits-all machines? Tony Stewart's not the type to sit back and complain. He's the type to act. Pulling Schatz wasn't about a single driver. It was about realigning with excellence. It was about reminding the sport and the fans what accountability looks like. If Stewart thinks something's broken, he doesn't write a press release. He grabs the wrench and fixes it. And here's the twist that should keep NASCAR executives awake at night. The rumors say Stewart's not done. The whispers, he's considering a brand new kind of racing operation, a hybrid, something that blends sprint car grit, drag strip speed, and Cup Series polish. A program that doesn't just compete, but disrupts. Imagine Stewart coming back to Cup ownership, not to play the same game, but to flip the table. He's got the sponsors, he's got the fan base, and more importantly, he's got credibility. He knows the flaws of the current system better than anyone, and he's unafraid to call them out. If he does return, it won't be quietly, it'll be with fireworks, with a clear mission to drag NASCAR back to what it used to be: raw, real, earned. So what's NASCAR saying right now? Officially, almost nothing, but unofficially, everything's changed. When fans lose faith, when drivers cry foul, and when legends like Stewart start carving a new road, it's not just a shakeup, it's the start of a revolution. And the only question left is, who's ready for it? Is Tony Stewart leading NASCAR back to its roots? Or is this the spark that lights a bigger split in the racing world? Drop your thoughts below, because one thing's for sure, whether you love him, hate him, or fear him, Tony Stewart just made NASCAR unpredictable again.